3, 2, 1. Welcome to The Peaceful Truth, the podcast where we talk about everything from women empowerment to feminism and everything in between. You're joined by your co-hosts, Kenzie, meek-beck, and
Meghan Hohards.
But we have a special guest. Meghan, do you want to introduce our guest?
Yes, we are so excited to have on Jessi. Jessi, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So Jessi, let's just kind of kick things off about who you are and kind of why you're on our podcast today.
And tell us your last name, because actually you are, how I know Jessi, is one of my good friends and coworkers. Kyle is your husband, but Kyle Campbell, but do you have a different last name? What's your last name?
Jessi Owens.
Jessi Owens.
Like the track star.
Perfect.
Super easy to remember.
So then you didn't take your husband's last name.
No, I did not.
And I'm not going to either whenever I get remarried.
There you go.
Good for you.
Yes.
I feel like awesome. You can pick and choose if you like your last name, because I love being Jessi Owens. Just that strong, independent name that people associate with being an athlete, and
I like it.
You can choose what you want. And so I kept my name.
Perfect.
Also, it has the same amount of syllables, so it just sounds and it flows well.
Not that I don't love my husband's last name, but I don't feel like it's me. It's not me. Jessi
Right.
Owens is me. I've grown into that name.
Perfect.
Awesome. Perfect. So Jessi, we're featuring you on the podcast, but for special reasons. Can you kind of describe why you're on here and kind of why we're featuring you, I guess?
You guys think I'm interesting?
Well, yes, we think she's very interesting.
I'm a part-time bartender, and I say part-time because I don't want to work full-time because I want to play. I want to go out and I want to accomplish things. And I'm a rock climber and sea kayaker. Sea kayaker first, and rock climber is training for the paddling, of course.
Cool. Now tell us a little bit about sea kayaking. Like, what does that mean versus other types of kayaking? I guess for our listeners who might not be interested in kayaking, tell them a little bit more, I guess, about it.
So there's all different kinds of kayaking people can do. You can paddle in recreational boats, which are shorter. You can whitewater paddle. You can paddle a sea kayak. And what the difference is between a sea kayak and a whitewater is that whitewater are shorter. They're more maneuverable, and sea kayaks are longer. My boat is 17 and a half feet long.
Oh my gosh.
So it tracks really well. And also you can store a lot of gear in there. So you can do,
Cool.
What I do a lot is multi-day overnights. And you can put bottles of wine in there. You don't have to skimp on little things that you would if you were backpacking, but you can just go in, throw it in a sea kayak. Why not?
So
That's
how
cool.
many people can fit in your sea kayak?
Only one.
Only one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there other sea kayaks with multiple people can sit in them?
Yes, good question. There's 2 and there's also 3.
Okay.
And
wow.
3s are really long and they're extra wide. And there's different widths of sea kayaks. Some are wider, so a bit more stable. Some are narrower, so they're more maneuverable in choppier water, which makes it really, really fun. Since there's been a lot of wind this past week, It's been really, really fun to go paddle in the wind.
Nice.
Oh, awesome.
So while I was in Costa Rica, they had kind of maybe what you're talking about. It was a kayak, but it was a 2-person kayak, but we had a row, and then we'd have to go right, left, and it was one paddle, and you had to work with your person to go in the same direction.
Was it a canoe or
Maybe it was a
kayak?
canoe.
It sounds like a canoe. But I know people who paddle a sea kayak with an oar instead of a paddle.
Okay.
And they like a I guess not an oar. I'm not sure what it's called for a canoe. I'm not experienced with canoes.
Okay. So, but it was just one, it was like one stick, and then there was a paddle at the end.
Yeah.
And you'd have to bring it over all the way to the other side and then do left. And I was terrible at it.
It sounds like a canoe.
And I lasted for like 15 minutes, and I said, okay, I'm tired now. Now I'm done.
Takes a lot of upper body strength, I'm
Yes.
sure.
It's a lot of core and a lot of chest and a lot of back.
Yes.
That's cool. That's awesome. So we kind of start our episodes where we recap anything fun we're doing or anything important happening in our lives within the past week. So Jessi, we'd like to invite you to kind of share how your life is, just like personally, how you're doing. Are you having a good week? Anything fun happening? Like we do it as frivolous as we went shopping the other day, or
yeah, that's right.
or we hung out with a friend. Did you have anything fun this week that you did?
I've listened to your podcast before, so I know how to answer this.
Perfect.
Yeah, this past, I go out with my paddling group at least once a week. Rain, shine, snow, wind, doesn't matter. So on Wednesday, we went out to the Discovery Point Lighthouse and played in some of the wind chop that was out there, which was really super, super fun.
Wow.
And then on Thursday, I listened to a known sea kayaker in the area give a discussion about paddling in the wind.
Oh, wow.
And it was...
was it a live presentation?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, it was good. There were a few little things I had already known, but I was looking for that one little piece of information that puts together why does my boat do this? Why does my boat do that? And then he was able to answer that. He got that one little question right in my head, and I went, yes, okay, I came away with some good answers.
Perfect.
That's good. So you feel like you can tackle wind kayaking even better this time, I guess? Or in the weather we've been having has been horrible.
It's been fun. It's been good. It's been, no, it's been great. It's been good
You
practice.
like it?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I love it. It's so
That's
fun.
amazing.
And plus my boat is designed for that type of paddling.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Well, there you go, making the positives out of this weather.
How was your week?
My week was good. You talk about kayaking the way that I talk about yoga.
She's a yoga instructor.
Like totally nerding out about it. And whenever I talk to Kenzie about yoga, I'm like, oh, I'm going to see this person. Kenzie's like, I have no idea who you're talking about. And I'm like, they're the most famous people in yoga.
I'm like, that's great.
Yeah. My week was good. I got back from Costa Rica, so I had so much laundry to do. And work was really good at my new job. And on Friday, I went out to, it's called the Boiling Point. It's in Chinatown. Desmond, my boyfriend, is a bit of a foodie, so he likes to explore Chinatown. So that was fun.
Oh,
What did you do in Costa Rica other than
Yoga.
hop in a canoe?
I did
Did you
lots
like-
of yoga, 4 hours a day, and hung out with the monkeys, just all kinds of
Monkeys
fun stuff.
literally came up to her while she was doing yoga.
Yeah. When we
Oh my
came
gosh.
out of Shavasana, there was like 10 or 15 monkeys because we were in the rainforest.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was really cool.
That's so cool.
Yep.
I'm so jealous.
Kenzie, how was your week?
Well, not as cool as you guys'. I would say it's pretty standard. I've been pretty busy this week. We have actually worked pretty hard on the podcast this past week because we have a surprise for you guys coming up in the next few weeks. And we'll tell you off camera what it is, Jessi. But we have something coming up that we've been working really hard on. So a few of the nights this week we were working on that. And then on Friday, I bought ski gear for the first time. All of the gear you would need to go skiing. And it was a lot of money, but I'm really excited to go skiing.
Nice.
Yeah. So I bought all the gear. And then last night I went out karaokeing. So that was fun.
What's your favorite song to sing?
Actually, a rap song, Super Bass by Nicki Minaj.
I don't know that one.
No? It's a really fun one.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what I do. What's your go-to karaoke song if you had to pick?
Oh God, that's gonna date me.
I don't think so.
Okay, so it depends on the mood I'm in. It's either Alanis Morissette, You Ought to Know,
Yes.
That's awesome.
or a Crystal Gale song.
Oh, good.
She's a country singer from the 70s and 80s.
Oh, nice. I'm going to have to check her out. We both like country. So
Yeah,
we'll
we're
have to
both
check
from
her out.
Texas. We
Yeah.
got that country music in our hearts for sure.
We do. Yeah. So I guess if you want to kind of kick off the next section, Meg.
Yep. So we're just going to recap old Peaceful Truth episodes. We're going to ask you some questions from each of the episodes that are some of our favorites. From episode 1, we talked about women empowering women. Can you tell us about a time that another woman empowered you in a significant way?
Yes. Oh, that's going to sound so cliche, but it's so true. My mom empowered me. She always claimed that she was a feminist.
Good.
And she encouraged me to not listen to negative words that people had to say. And when somebody would tell me, you can't do that because of X, Y, or Z, one of those would be because you're a woman. She said, you don't have to listen to that. You can do what you want. Is this what you want? And I would say, yes. She says, okay, we're going to make that happen.
That is cool. Now that's the type of mom you want. That's awesome.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's a really cool mom. Awesome. The next one is negative words and stereotypes. So tell us about a time you've been stereotyped and how you've risen above.
Oh, there's so many of these.
You can tell multiple. Yeah, you don't have to pick one.
I don't know. I feel like people, since I'm a heavily tattooed woman, I don't feel like a lot of people, and this might be just where I work, when I say that I'm an experienced sea kayaker and I teach, that I'm looked at as somebody who's not being truthful, or somebody who's not really, I feel like they're like just blowing out smoke kind of thing.
Really?
And it could be the people I'm telling, it could be the environment. But being a woman, I always get a lot of comments when they always think that I'm not being safe, or you might be careful, you might hurt yourself, or it's just the overcautious conversation that comes up. And hey, what do you do? Well, I'm a sea kayaker. Oh, is that safe? Or you're doing that alone? Or just it's just instant worry. And there's no need to be worried because I'm not. Maybe you are, but that's not my problem.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it too. Yeah.
And that's interesting that's one of the first things that comes up then. Is like, oh, are you safe doing it? Like, what about, oh my gosh, that's an awesome hobby, or that's an awesome life goal, you know?
I get that from women. Women say, oh my gosh. They go, girl, yeah, yes.
Oh,
and
good.
the guys go, oh, are you okay?
Interesting.
It's so weird. And then once again, it could be the environment or the people. I don't know.
Wow. Dang.
So in episode 10, we kind of went a more lighthearted route. We talked about stripping it down and how good it feels to take off a bra.
That was the first podcast I heard from you guys.
No way.
And it was so good. It was. I was just telling my husband, I was like, that's it? We're on the same page. They know exactly what it's like.
It's true. It feels good. Oh, and taking out your contacts. Do you wear contacts?
No, I don't.
Oh, God.
It feels pretty much as good as taking off a bra. So, does it feel good to take off a wetsuit? Does it feel the same? Like the same sensation?
It's a yes and no. Yes, because it's stuck to you and it feels clammy because you're out of the water. And then you're like, oh, yeah, peel that thing off. And then you stand there, oh, my God. I'm naked and I'm cold. Oh my God, this is awful.
I didn't even think about it like that. Yeah, you're naked, aren't you? When you take it off?
I don't know. I like that. That way I can just dry off quick and then change clothes instead of taking off a wet bra and taking off wet underwear. It's just easier that way.
Do some people wear swimsuits underneath? Is that, or no?
I don't know. I think so.
I just find it interesting. I've just never worn a wetsuit. Now that I'm
it's like a whole new world for us, kind of.
Maybe we should try it. We need to go on a kayaking adventure with Jessi.
I would last 10 minutes. I would sit back and let you guys do the work.
No, you would not, because it's a canoe. It's not a canoe.
Okay.
It's a kayak, so you would be fine.
Okay.
There you go. It's different. It's different, Megan. Okay, so mine is... the next episode is Please Don't Touch Me, Workplace Sexism. So have you ever experienced sexism in the workplace?
Oh, as a bartender, yes. I had my ex-boss smack my ass.
Nice.
And that's,
I mean, sarcastically.
yeah. And then you have to think about what the things that go through my head is, do I say something? Do I punch him? Or do I keep my job? And that's the one thing that I've talked to a lot of women who say, do I really want the repercussions of this if I say something? Because you feel like this person's in power. And I didn't say anything I didn't even tell my husband for a year. And just because I didn't say anything. And I was embarrassed for myself that I didn't say anything or speak up. But I didn't get the job. And so I thought if I would have said something, I would have lost my job.
Yeah, it's scary. It's kind of like the Harvey Weinstein stuff.
It's totally like that.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Yeah, my last job before being a video producer full-time was being a television journalist, and that sexism is horrific in that environment. You know, you have to look a certain way. I was told as a young girl, I have small boobs, and I was told as like a young girl when I was first getting into it, you have to get a breast job to be on television.
You didn't
my
say,
God.
you never told me that.
Yeah, I was told by several men.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I was
That's
told you need a
crazy.
breast job. Yeah. And like being a 21-year-old girl intern
Mm-hmm.
and a man to tell you as an intern that's extreme sexual harassment.
Yes.
And it's also, then you feel like kind of violated because they noticed what your body looks like, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, workplace sexism was horrific there. But I can't imagine as a bartender that probably has to be equal to television because you're in the spotlight. You're like interacting with people on a daily basis, you know, like versus
And sometimes
a desk job.
not in a normal state of mind, maybe in an
in an
extremely
inebriated.
intoxicated state of mind.
It's both.
Yeah.
I've had people, I was lifting for a while, and I had people notice, and then these people I never met before, and they would say, "Oh, so don't get too big." And I'm thinking, "Wait, so I'm supposed to come please you now? Like, what if I do want to put on more muscle? I'm not here to please you, but
Yeah.
in your mind, I am." So that's kind of screwy.
I think women who lift are amazing, first off. And I've always heard that too from men when I talk about lifting with women. They're like, yeah, but when they get too big, it's kind of gross. And I'm like, who are you to, like, that just means your body is like in the perfect form, like literally,
Right.
like you've capitalized on your body. Like, I just don't understand how it's ugly at all.
I wonder if it's like a masculinity thing.
they
where
wanna be
don't-
stronger.
They want to be the strong ones, and when they see a woman is stronger, that's the only thing I can think of. Or they're just being dicks.
Maybe
It's true.
that.
I went on a date with a guy this past summer, and I'm dating, so I'm like learning more about the guys I date and what I want and what I dislike. And this guy, like, after we saw Wonder Woman, the most feminist movie ever, he was just like, yeah, she was too big though.
Oh my gosh.
She was not too big.
And I was like, if you
Oh
know,
my God,
if you know
what?
me, that was like a deal breaker.
You're like,
thing
okay,
to
bye.
say. Yeah.
Thanks, but no thanks.
No. So long story short, we did not end up dating. So
Good. Yes.
It's like, you idiot. Like, anyway, super stupid. Okay. Now we actually wanted to get into the nitty gritty of you. So Jessi is an amazing athlete. And for the women out there who want to learn and who are motivated just to become better athletes, whether that's in yoga, whether that's in anything else, these are good lessons. I feel like as a woman to take, and you just, from what I've heard and from what I've talked to you about, you want to just be seen as a person. You don't even want to be seen necessarily as a woman, right? You just want to be
Right.
seen as a human being accomplishing things.
Right.
And I feel like women unfortunately have to think about it like that. So maybe you can empower women to see themselves as just people. So that's kind of what I hope. That I just think you're a badass. So
Definitely.
Thank you.
first, Megan, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah. So we were corresponding over email kind of to get to know you better, and you mentioned that you were the first of several things. So you also mentioned that you were the first female pole vaulter in Missouri. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
So this is where my mom really comes in, and the first moment when she really tested me and what I wanted and my drive. And I saw guys pole vaulting. I had joined the track team when I was a freshman sophomore in high school, and this is back in the 90s, early 90s. And so I had said to my mom, I really want to pole vault. It looks like so much fun. I'm not good at hurdles, and I'm not good at sprints. And she says, then you should do it. And I said, no, but only guys pole vault. And she says, then you're going to do what you want. Do you want to do this? And I said, yes. And she says, all right, we're going to make this happen. And so I went to the athletic director, and who was extremely rude to me on the phone and was degrading. And he said, I kid you not, he said, it is illegal for women to pole vault. And so I took those words.
Illegal?
Illegal. And so I went back to my mom and I said, oh, he said it was illegal. And she says, oh, that is BS. She says, it is not illegal for women to pole vault, and you're going to vault if you want to do it. So then
I love your mom.
I know.
she's so good.
That's who I
She's so
want to
great.
be as a mom. That's so cool.
So I spoke with the coach, the pole vaulting coach, and he says, I would love to have you on our team. But I had to join the boys track team. So I had to run with them. I had to do the same workout as them. And I was always the last in the run, always the last, because I'm not a runner. I'm not a good runner. And I was always working out with them. So then I had guys saying, oh my gosh, did you hear Jessi has a penis? She really has a penis.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That shouldn't be how it is.
And it was so embarrassing. And I'm thinking, what? Because I had to join the boys' track team to do this? And the girls, the women's track team, were super supportive, and they were encouraging me, and they were like, go, Jessi, yes, yes, yes. And the athletic director would come to the practices and stand there and laugh at me.
Oh
and
my God.
Intentionally?
And he would make it a point to show me that he was laughing at me if I couldn't do something, or if I had trouble with a plant or the follow through, and he would laugh.
That's insane. I'm
so
sorry you
proud
had to
of you
go.
for
And this is the
Yeah.
director, the athletic director
Yeah.
of a high school.
I'm so proud of you, though, for
Thank you.
going over that. But that kind of goes back, and I would love for you to I'm just kind of thinking of question here. Sorry, Meg. But I kind of love for you to talk about this, but you have to be better than the boys in a way. Not only do you have to be on the team to make it, you have to, I feel like women oftentimes have to overcompensate to be a part of things and be better to even be noticed. Do you feel like that's how it was?
Oh yeah. It was rough because they wouldn't the school would not buy women's poles, and women's poles are designed differently than men's poles because of our center of gravity. We have lower body weight, and men have higher body weight. And so I ended up getting a crossbar. You know, the bar that you go up and over. I ended up using a crossbar because it was smaller, so for my hands, and nobody invested in a real pole for me. And so it was really difficult to use the crossbar as a pole. And then I couldn't show I was tired, even though I was tired of having a full day of art and all these different classes and academic stuff. And then to come to track practice and really just try to be better than me.
That's an amazing story.
Was it fun though to be a pole vaulter?
Yeah.
Oh my God, so much fun.
Did it feel like you were flying?
No, it doesn't.
That's what it looks like. Your
It
legs are,
does.
It feels like
going.
you're falling. It feels like you're like riding a pole down. 'Cause I wasn't good enough where I could come up and throw the pole and then come over the crossbar. I would just come up over the crossbar and down.
Have you ever since then, and after being treated like crap, have you ever been able to try it with a legitimate woman's pole since?
No, because they didn't
Dang
get
it.
women's poles until after I graduated. So 3 years from being the only person, the only woman, and then competing against myself and at state, they got women's poles the year after.
Dang it.
Because
maybe
there's
you
so
should
many
go
women.
back and ask to borrow one and be like, I want to try it.
I've earned this. Come
Look how good
on.
I am
I
with this
paved the
real
way
pole.
for you girls. Let
Oh,
me
I'd be
try. That's awesome.
So now your high school has like a legit like team of women pole vaulters?
Now they have a women's pole vaulting.
Oh,
Because of you.
First one.
And they have women's poles, and they have a women's pole vaulting team.
Perfect.
That's amazing. Good job, Jessi. You changed some girls' lives. You never know. So how are you treated as a woman? You kind of answered that, but did we miss out on this question at all for how you were treated as a woman specifically? Is there any other things? that
Maybe
you can
how your
think of?
teammates treated you. You mentioned that the women's team was rooting you on. How about the men's team?
It was half and half. They're the guys who would say, Jessi's got a penis, oh my gosh. And then there are other half the guys that would say, hey, all right, let me coach you. Let me show you how we do it. Because for when I was new to the sport, and these guys have been doing it for a few years, there were some really good guys on there.
Yeah, I'm sure they're men raised right. I feel
Yeah.
like awesome. Okay, Meg, what's yours? Oh yeah.
This
You already
next
asked us
one,
that? I know.
you also mentioned that you were the first professional female fire breather in Kansas City. Can you tell us about this experience and how you even became a fire breather in the first place?
So back in the early 2000s, in the late 90s, I started a job. I became a stripper. And I had met somebody at the club who ended up being a really good friend of mine. And he was a professional fire breather. And so I said, I want to learn. And the rule is, well, you don't teach. So you figure out on your own. So
Why not?
Because
Liability?
For me, no, yeah, you think. For me, I wouldn't teach back then because I just didn't want competition. Mm-hmm. Really what it was. Like, I was getting a lot of good gigs, and I didn't want someone coming up and being, oh, here I am. I'm also a female fire breather, and I want to, I don't know, I just didn't want to lose my jobs at the time. I liked the gigs.
Yeah. Now, do you mind if we ask you about stripping? Like,
I'm totally open about that.
Because here's the feminist that I believe as a feminist, and I'll let Meghan speak for herself 100%. But I find feminism to be, you use your body how you want, you treat your body how you want, empower other women if they feel either one, they just want to use their body how they are, or if they feel like sexual and they want to like present their body in such a way, they should be empowered too, because that's their body, that's how they feel. We are sexual beings. So that's how I feel. What about you, Meghan?
I agree completely, and I just want to reiterate that I feel like it's up to the woman what she does with her body. And so if you want to be a stripper, I think that's great.
So you kind of mentioned, if you want to talk about one, what it's like to be a stripper and what people stereotype you as, is that, and then two, why did you feel inspired to be a stripper? Why did you like it?
I was poor. I was working at a bank, and I was not making enough money, and I couldn't afford food. And so I started dancing because it was money, and it was, I guess you could say it was easy, but it was still tough to do it. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of judgments. There's a lot of people degrading you. Your managers would degrade you. The customers would degrade you. And then you'd have a lot of empowerment at the same time. You'd have a lot of other, your fellow dancers would be inspiring, and they encourage you to go out and get more dances, because you have to give a certain amount of lap dances a night. They encourage you to be a better performer on stage. And then there's like, just you bond and you have a good friendship with some of the women that you work with. So there's lots of hits and misses with that. I think what got to me and why I quit was the degrading part, from what people had said and how I was being treated. I just kind of had enough of that. And this was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, so this is a long time ago, and I don't know if things have changed or not.
That's really interesting.
How did your family and people that were close to you, did they accept you as being as your profession, or were you shunned, or how did they interpret it?
That's a really good question. I lied to my mom for the longest time. I lied to my mom for a good 6 months or so, and I told her that I was at a friend's house and I was always partying. And so I don't know if she thought what I was doing, but then eventually I came out and told her, like, okay, I'm a dancer. And then she broke down crying and she said, "You're an escort?" And I go, no, Mom, no. I just take my clothes off for money. That's all. Like, I'm not a dirty girl.
You're not like, I'm not a prostitute, Mom.
But then there's all the stereotypes.
Or sex worker is
I'm not
the
a sex worker.
Yeah.
No. And there are women who choose to be, and that's okay, but that's not who I was.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of stereotypes that come with being a stripper. Like, you have daddy issues, you're an alcoholic, or you have drug issues. And when I would have customers or people would say, "Oh, you must have one of those. You must be a drug addict." No, I'm not a drug addict, and I don't have daddy issues. Like, my dad was great, and he's still great. It's just something I choose to do, and I'm okay with it. If you're not okay with it, that's your problem.
So then would you go work at the bank during the day and then strip at night?
Yes, but my manager had told me not to tell any of the customers that I was a stripper, which I wasn't going to anyway.
Right.
But
oh, by the way, here's your money. I'm a stripper. like, why did they think that was even a thought?
Here's a little for you, and then a little for me. Right.
Wink, wink. That's awful, though, that you couldn't tell anyone. But does stripper have a more politically correct?
I prefer peeler. No. No, dancer. 'Cause
Dancer.
We dance. We dance on stage. And sometimes we don't take our clothes off. And sometimes we do. And sometimes we put in art with our dancing.
Such as
like fire breathing.
Perfect.
Well, that's awesome. So I guess, Megan, do you want to kind of go into our next and final segment? That's the main reason we wanted to talk to you, is what kind of Kyle was telling me about your experience and what you're going through. So,
Yep. So we know that you're currently working on accomplishing another goal and becoming the first of another project. So can you tell us what you're currently working on?
So I will say that as of now, to my knowledge, I don't know if anyone else has done it. I don't know if anyone else is stupid enough to do it, because it's not super exciting. There's a lot of repetition in it, but I'm solo circumnavigating every individual San Juan island in the San Juan Archipelago. And for those of you who are not familiar, the San Juan Archipelago is a series of cluster of islands in western Washington near the Canadian border.
Very cool. Can you tell us more about how many islands there are and how many you've accomplished so far?
Oh, yeah. There's 121 islands with island in the name. And so in order to make it onto my list, it had to have island in the name. And it couldn't be a rock or a reef or a dock full of angry sea lions. So I'm paddling around each one, and I got the idea from the Washington Kayak Club, and they have their own goal. It's the San Juan 7, and they encourage their members to circumnavigate all the major San Juan islands, the major 7 San Juan islands. And so I thought, well, if they're doing the major ones, I want to try to replicate that. And I thought, wait a minute, there's so many other islands and so many other places to explore. I'm going to add that in my project too.
I kind of just thought of a random question, and this might be better in a different spot, but I just thought of it on the fly. Exploring through all these islands, have you seen anything unique to nature or something that sticks out, like, as part of your adventure, I guess?
Yeah,
because you're kind of the first seeing a lot of things, or not the first, but like you kind of come across some wild things, I'm sure.
I watched there was a little island that I needed to paddle around, but there were a bunch of gulls sitting on it, seagulls. Mm-hmm. And then, so I'm watching the seagulls, and I don't want to get too close to them to disturb the wildlife. And I watched a sea lion come up and take out a seagull.
Oh my God.
And thrash it around right in front of me. And
kill it?
To kill it, to eat it. And he thrashes it around back and forth, and then goes back under, comes back up. I feel like he shoots up in the air, but it probably wasn't that far. And he thrashes it around again and goes back under. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna back up. I'm just gonna get out of his way and let him do his thing, let him feast, and then I'll paddle around it.
Yeah, because he's in this mindset, a predator mindset. Yeah. Dang.
I mean, you saw some real nature right there.
Yeah, that's intense. That poor little seagull.
I know.
How did this journey and goal begin? Of, I guess, the San Juan Islands. You kind of explained that, I guess. Was it just like your kayaking club that kind of inspired it?
Well, I'm not actually part of the Washington Kayak Club, but I was inspired by them from the projects that they have. Okay, cool. And so in my personal project, there's 121 islands I'm not sure if I said this or not, in my project with island in the name. And as of now, I have 89 islands completed.
Perfect. Megan, you're the next one.
Yeah. In our email correspondence, you mentioned that you taught yourself a role. Can you tell us what this role is and how you ended up teaching yourself?
Like a kayaking role, I guess?
Oh, yeah. I taught myself to roll last year, and then I perfected this year. And then there's a role that I just learned in the summer called a butterfly roll. Oh, cool. I don't know what you want.
What is a roll exactly for women that don't know?
Oh, what's a roll? I'm sorry. Okay, it's when you go upside down and then you come back up again. So it's a technique of using your lower body to control your boat. And you want to you don't paddle a sea kayak, you wear a sea kayak.
Oh, okay.
And so you want a sea kayak to form to your body. And so you can pad it out with padding on the inside to have complete control over that boat. So you're using your lower body along with your core and your knees to roll to get yourself back up with the assistance of a paddle. Or some people don't use a paddle at all. They use their hands. That's called a hand roll.
Dang.
I can't do those.
But rolls are useful because if you go under, correct? Is that why are they used?
Yes, why? Yes. So if you get
just for fun, you're just rolling around.
There's the Greenland rolling there's competitions.
Oh wow!
To roll, and so there's
go.
people who only focus on rolling, and then there are people who do it for personal challenges and fun, and then the practical use is if you are out paddling in some chop and you get hit by a wave. If you capsize, then you can not do a wet exit, which means pop your spray skirt and come out, that you would be able to prepare to right your boat. And which will get you out of danger quicker.
A lot of core, I'm sure, within your body.
Yes, a lot of core and lots of legs.
Oh, wow. Cool. So you hate this question, but it is the first question, I'll just be honest with you, that popped in my head. Is it safe to do all this? And you say you hate this question, so we see where you're coming from, but why do you hate that question? What's your counter argument when people say it isn't safe to go out by yourself on these kayaking adventures?
I feel like I have enough experience paddling in the ocean, and I have enough self-awareness, and I take precautions in my safety. I have rescue gear. I've been in a self-rescue situation where I have a little checklist, and I went through my checklist, and luckily I only had to get to the second one on my checklist before I could get back in my boat, and which was a good test of can I self-rescue, which in a very, very rough, horrible water situation, which ended up being really fun. But yeah, it's just like walking down the street in Seattle. Is that safe? I mean, it's really, I guess it's kind of not, but it can be. It's if you just are aware of what's going on around you and mentally prepare to put yourself in the worst situation possible. Like, what if this were to happen? What if this were to happen? And just be ready for anything.
So as you are solo kayaking, do you also then camp by yourself then too on some of the islands that you're kayaking around?
Yes. Yeah, I love kayak camping. You can have a kayak and put anything you want pretty much in your boat and take it with you. And I'll try to find the most efficient way to paddle around each of the islands so I'm not backtracking. Find a place to camp within the camp system that we have through the Washington Water Trails. They're a great organization here in Washington, and they maintain and take care of the waterways, and also there's campsites that are dedicated to sea kayakers. So if you're the last person to arrive on an island where there's other boats, like marine traffic and stuff, you have a place to sleep.
Oh, nice.
Camp.
That's really cool. Now, I kind of want to go back to that safe question. And this is just a personal thing. As a feminist, I kind of struggle with, because I want to be a feminist and the best feminist I can be. But at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm afraid to camp. I'm afraid to go on runs at nighttime. I'm afraid to do certain things. And for women like me, how would you recommend to overcome that fear? And why do you feel like that fear, that inherent fear, is a negative thing in general, I guess?
I think a lot of it is we're taught to have fear instead of we're taught to have awareness, which is what something my mom had talked to me when I was younger. She says, you shouldn't be scared to go out at night or go for a run or be alone, but you should have awareness. And this goes back to people saying, so you're a sea kayaker. Oh, is that safe? It goes back to that. And did I answer your question?
Yeah.
It's kind of just kind of being aware of your surroundings. Like you were mentioning walking down the street of downtown Seattle. Is it safe? Well, sometimes maybe it's not safe if you run across this a group of people that aren't safe, or if you're walking at 3:00 in the morning, but it's being aware of your surroundings and knowing what's next on your checklist of things to do in order to be safe. Is it kind of like that?
Yeah, definitely. Just being more aware of your surroundings. And then if you get into a situation, this could be in downtown Seattle, or it could be in a sea kayak where you don't feel safe. Like if I'm camping on an island and there's a group of guys camping on the island, which is it's not happened to me, but I can see that would make a solo woman feel uncomfortable, then I would go, this is what my plan is too. If I don't feel comfortable with the people there, I go to a different island. And I'm in a sea kayak, and so I have that ability to sleep somewhere else.
Get yourself out of a situation that maybe isn't as safe.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. But also we said, my other question was, I guess do you feel like it is a negative thing that women think like that? Or do you feel like we should try to overcome that, I guess, the negative thought of questioning safety of things? Do you feel like we should try to overcome that stereotype, I guess?
Yeah, totally. Yes. We need to go out and do what we want to do. And I mean, you take a little extra steps than maybe a guy would, and you're maybe more prepared for anything that could happen. And I feel like there's a lot of women who say, oh, I'm scared to go out and do a solo hike by myself. But why are you scared? What scares you? You make a list and then go to that list and think, is this a valid reason for me not to go? And then keep going down that list until you get something that makes you feel uncomfortable. Like maybe a guy has followed you on a trail and is making you feel uncomfortable. Well, what can you do to be better and be confident in yourself? Do you leave? Do you carry a pistol with you? There's some women that hike with guns, which is great. There are some people that carry knives, and I don't know. It's all what's going to make you feel better.
Awesome.
And just being more aware.
Very true. Thank you so much.
Do you think that there is a potential risk in general camping and going solo regardless if you're male or female? And, in the questions that we've answered so far, it's directly towards being a female in these situations. But do you think that the same risks apply to men as well?
Oh yeah. I read a story about a solo sea kayaker who went up into the rural basically the remote areas of Vancouver Island, and he was out camping for a few days. He was actually in a shack alone, and he wanted that solo, which is why I go out, because I want that alone time with myself. And he ends up getting scared away and calling for a float plane to come pick him up because of these sounds that he's hearing throughout the night that sound like big boulders being thrown around. And he gets so scared that he calls for a float plane. And then when the float plane comes to pick him up, and the float plane, the pilot asks him, so why did you want to leave so soon? You've only been here for 4 days. And he says, I heard boulders being thrown around in the woods, and it was scary for me. And he says, oh, we call that Sasquatch. And he was dead serious.
Oh my gosh.
I thought you were going to say something like, yeah, they're doing construction around the corner.
No.
I wonder what the noises were. Maybe it was Sasquatch.
Dun, dun, dun. Conspiracy theory.
Do you believe in Sasquatch?
No.
Sasquatch?
No, but I don't know. No, I don't think so. But I feel like he had a really good story.
Yeah.
So who knows? But when you are camping or when you're sleeping alone, your mind starts wandering. Like,
for sure.
What is that? What is that noise? Is that Sasquatch, or is that a cougar?
Like, what is it?
Yeah.
Or it's just a raccoon or a squirrel.
Yeah.
So we did mention you could carry a pistol if that does make you feel safer, but you kind of mentioned a story in your email. You don't personally like to carry a gun, and can you kind of tell your personal story with guns?
Yeah. I don't.
Or if you don't want to.
Yeah. No. I want to. So when I started paddling alone, my ex gave me his pistol, and he said I would feel comfortable if you were paddling and camping alone with my gun. So I took it, and I know how to shoot a gun. I've grown up with guns my whole life. And so, but I kept this gun with me, and I slept with it underneath my pillow when I slept at night. And so this one particular day, I was up in up in the San Juans, and I had stopped to take a break from paddling and to read a little bit of my book. And so I pull into a really, really super shallow cove where there's nobody around, and I sit on the log and I open up my book and I'm reading my book. And I see a big metal boat come in about a half hour after I sit down. And then I start thinking, oh my God, did he follow me? Where's this boat? Who is on this boat? Are there guys on this boat? What's going to happen? Because I'm the only one on this island. And so this boat shows up and he starts coming towards me. And so I get up from where I am sitting and I go over to my kayak and I open up the hatch and I put the pistol in the book. And then I walk back, sit back down on the log, slowly tuck the pistol in the back of my pants. And so then I'm sitting there with the pistol in the back of my pants, pretending to read my book. And this boat shows up, it gets closer and closer, and I know he's there because I'm there, because there's nothing else around, and there's nobody else around. Why is he coming towards me? And so I start thinking all these things. And I feel safe because I have this pistol, or so I think. And then as the boat gets towards me, closer, I look and it says, Border Patrol.
Oh my God.
So
is it Canadian Border Patrol?
Yeah.
No, U.S. Border Patrol.
Oh, U.S. Border Patrol.
But
And
for Canada?
They patrol around the San Juan Islands for drug trafficking and all this illegal activity.
Cool.
And so the boat gets closer, and then so my safe feeling that I had from having, okay, I have a pistol, I'll be okay if this person's here for malicious intent, went to, oh my God, I've got a gun. It's not registered to me, and this is Border Patrol. I am so screwed. So I would, okay, I'll just be a cute little girl right now. And I said, oh, hi. So be careful. It's really shallow right there. I don't want you ruining your boat. And he says, all right, thank you, ma'am. And then he turns around and pulls back out.
Thank God.
I went, never taking a gun with me again. I do not. No, this could get me in trouble.
The one time you can use
one
your
time.
female stereotype for you.
Oh my gosh, yeah, exactly. I had to pull it out. I had to do something.
Sometimes you got to use that card. Sometimes you got to use it.
That's funny. So how would you empower or give advice to women who are seeking athletic goals?
Do it. I've got a shirt, and it says, "Don't wish for it, work for it." Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's the thing I try to live by each day. And with my goals is, I don't feel like anything is going to hold me back. No matter what negative comments or nasty remarks I get from other people, other women, or no matter how worried my mom is, oh honey, you shouldn't do that by yourself. what happened? Because now she's older and now she's a little bit more worried. And I feel like nothing should hold you back for doing what you want. I don't know what else.
Yeah.
How else to put that?
Just train hard, I guess, and I guess do a lot of research. Would that be good advice too? I don't know.
Yeah. Do research, be prepared, be mentally prepared, be physically prepared, and don't let anybody tell you you can't do something, because you can.
Awesome. I really like we mentioned several times in the previous questions, I really like how you say, okay, what's the worst that could happen to you? So you're already planning for, okay, think of the top things of the worst thing that can happen and plan for those. And so I think that that's good advice too.
Yeah. Definitely. When you tell people about your 121 island goal, has there ever been a doubter or someone who's questioned your goals, or has it more been empowering, I guess, from other feedback?
I feel like my paddling group, I paddle with a group of guys who are in their early to mid 60s, and because they have the free time during the week that I have off, and we go out and we paddle once or twice a week during all kinds of weather and such, and they're very encouraging. They encourage me to paddle my goal, or to stay on my goals, and they ask how many islands I've had so far. So it's nice to have that support from other paddlers.
Definitely.
That's good, and especially older men. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're great. They're so great.
Can you discuss the status of kayaking and where you think kayaking is going in the future? Do you kind of see more women seeking it out, or maybe more, I don't know, those developmental years around like 13-ish can be an age where you kind of start to develop your, what your ultimate goals are. So do you kind of see that happening too?
No, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with the world of sea kayaking. I feel like it's taking a complete turn. It started getting a lot of popularity around the 80s and 90s. There's a magazine called Sea Kayaker magazine, which I believe I have every issue of, every back issue, because it's amazing. And the articles are great. But they stopped making the magazine in 2014, and I don't know exactly why they stopped, but you could see the ads and all the discussions in the magazine rise in the 80s and 90s, and now I don't feel like sea kayaking is taking off, and I don't feel like there's a lot of young people getting into it, which is why I mostly paddle with older people, because they're into it, they're excited. So to find somebody who's young and getting into it is really, really rare, I feel. And there's different reasons why. It could be because it's really expensive to get into it first.
Yeah.
Places to store a boat, and it's hard. It's
physically hard.
It's physically hard. Anybody can paddle a sea kayak. Anybody can paddle a sea kayak. But to do all the extra things that come with it, like to roll or to get the perfect forward stroke, or sculling draw, or any of those type of things that are useful in paddling, take a lot of time and a lot of work.
Yeah, and maybe you inspired some young women
that
might be listening. Maybe you'll get some follow-up questions.
Sea kayaking is an amazing sport, okay?
If you have questions, maybe we'll attach her email and you can reach out to her.
Join me on my paddles.
So we had a break in between these questions, and I learned that your tattoo, that you're getting a tattoo that represents this goal, and we're going to kind of tease it on social media. So go back to our Insta, shameless plug. Sorry, Jessi. Go back to our Insta to look at it. But can you tell us about your tattoo right now? It's really awesome.
Yes, I'm working on 2 full leg sleeves, and it's by an artist named April Cornell, and she's just a beautiful person inside out. She's a great artist, and I feel like we have the same vision, and so she's designed these leg pieces for me, and it's a full mandala leg piece, and so I have different mandalas that represent, in my mind, my islands of what I've completed. It's not an exact replica, of course. It's not 10 islands for 10 mandalas, but and there's filler around it, and that's great.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. We need to put a picture. It's beautiful. Absolutely awesome.
So how long did she have to work on all of your leg pieces?
So still not finished.
Yeah.
But I'll do like 3-hour sessions, sometimes 4-hour sessions, sometimes 2-hour sessions, but not done yet. She's been working on it for a year.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Are you going to do color? Is it going to remain black and white?
It'll be black and gray.
Black and gray.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so
exciting. Let's do black and gray. And then I think that my right leg will be finished before my project is done. And I was kind of hoping it was going to be the project first, but we'll see.
That's awesome. Good goals. So we do end on a positive note. So we say something we're looking forward to this next week. So, and we kind of like our viewers to reflect as well on what they're looking forward to, just to spread positivity. So what are you looking forward to this week? Anything fun coming up, or anything you're looking forward to doing this week?
Paddling.
Shocking. What about you, Meg? Doing anything fun?
Something that this is like super far in the future. It's in June of 2018, but I bought the tickets for it this weekend, so that's why it's on my mind. I'm going to Dallas to visit my best friend Charlotte, and we're doing a 3-day yoga retreat with a really famous yogi. Her name is Elena Brower. Cool. And so I'm super excited to look forward to that for many more months to come.
That's awesome. I am looking forward to I guess I could save one of them, but I'm going to just say it now that I started saying it. One, we're going to PodCon in a few weekends, which is going to be actually coming up by the time this episode is released. But it's a podcast convention here in Seattle, and we're going to meet other podcasters, and it'll be great. And then also, I'm just excited to use my ski gear that I just bought.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of snow right now.
I know. I'm so excited.
Yeah, you'll be good.
All right. Do you want to wrap it up, Meg, with our positive quote?
Yep. So this quote is from Amelia Earhart, and when we read it, we thought of you. So the most effective way to do it is to do it. From Amelia Earhart.
And you kind of just said it, too.
You said it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for coming on, Jessi.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome. This is fun.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
guys-
And spread
ladies
love
are great.
and positivity.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.